Morning, John. Well, here we are with our famous opening, Another Day in Paradise. If you look down behind us in the valley, you'll see the village of Slate Run. And this is truly a beautiful, beautiful spot. We're here today to introduce a gentleman who has made a wonderful video of a very famous couple who has lived here, spent their lives in the valley, Bob and Dottie Weber. Dottie is a direct descendant of the first gentleman who built a home here in Slate Run in the late 1700s. The Tome family came in. And right below us, to my right, is a Tome flat, which a lot of you people have heard of. Dottie actually lived there and grew up in that area, among other locations here in the valley. But basically, Bob and Dottie grew up in what we refer to as Slate Run, and the village of Slate Run was their urban center. Now we will have some video here of the mountain where they lived. They lived on the top of a mountain between Naval and, the Little Slate Run. 2 miles off the grid. They... very different than a lot of the off-the-grid cabins. This cabin was built on location with broad axes. There might have been a white oak log and then a red oak log, and they built their beautiful little home, and they lived their lives there. And they truly enjoyed every minute of their life. Bob would find these beautiful outcroppings and the views into the valley. Bob was a forester at the time for Pennsylvania, and he was very instrumental, him and John Eastlake, in building the Black Forest Trail and numerous other trails that thread through the valley and the mountains and all over this area. And anybody that has been here, you would immediately fall in love with it. If you haven't been here, you're now seeing what Bob and Dottie grew up. It was their home. And we're very fortunate. They're unique people. And I'm going to introduce you to a gentleman, Jeff Swinghome. Now, Jeff has done an incredible good documentary of their lives, and it's called Mountainsouls. And if you never, ever, ever met Bob and Dottie, when you watch Mountainsouls, you will know them. You will feel what they felt in their hearts and the love for this area and why they chose to live their life the way they did. They lived their life in the middle of the forest with the animals, the rattlesnakes, and everything else, and loved every minute of it. And they loved the journey of their life, and they didn't have any aspirations of showing off some gorgeous, beautiful home or anything. They loved every day of their life, and their sacrifice was, I don't know if they made a sacrifice in life like a lot of us consider that we do. They loved each day. They didn't base their life on that it was going to get better in another 30 or 40 years and they were going to have all of their goals in life. Their goal was to live that particular day in this beautiful area. And they did that extremely well.
I'm Jeff Swinghome, the producer of the Mountainsouls, and I want to thank Gene Brown, who we stayed with last night here at this cabin. I mean, you can see Tom starts off with all the newsletters. Welcome to paradise. This is truly paradise. I mean, just take a look behind me and you can see Big Slate Run and up this Pine Creek Valley. It's just a magnificent view. But having said that, I was not a film producer prior to this. I've done a little bit of dabbling with videos, but I was a retired nurse anesthetist. I retired 2 years ago, and after a year of traveling, a friend of mine, Jack Dorr, sent me a DVD, a copy of a film that his son put together, a slideshow with music of Bob and Dottie and Jack and some of the other friends that Robert had. Excuse me. And I was really touched by it. It was a very, very moving picture show. But at that point, I realized that there's a big story here. And Robert was not, and Dottie were not the ordinary people you meet every day. They touched the lives of literally thousands and thousands of people. And to think that 1,000 people would walk back 2.5 miles back that lane or come up 2.5 miles up the mountain from Pine Creek, to me is incredible. It just speaks so much volumes of them as people. So, having said that, I went out and first started with finding people to interview, and the natural start was to pick my friend Jack, who had introduced me to them when I was 16 years old. That was back in 1969 actually, and from there I went to John Eastlake, who was Robert's best friend and who had helped construct and design the Black Forest Trail and was a forester as well. And then I went and found people that were his bosses, like Charlie Schwartz, another forester, and other foresters that knew him over the years. And from there, the list grew to people that I never met before, that you'll see, Dr. Durwachter in Camel and Cindy Bauer in Williamsport. And all these people had, you have to see the video to understand and see what they had to say. But every person in there was truly touched in some way by Bob and Dottie Weber. My goals here for this video, I'm forming a 501c3. So right now it's a pending nonprofit organization. So any donations you make to this organization are tax deductible. And my primary goal, number one, is to promote the Weber's legacy. And I think that's the most important thing. I think people have to remember and know these people in the future and know what they've done here. He has designed and made the infrastructure for this Tiadaghton State Forest. The next goal is to start a scholarship fund to help a worthy student to enter the career in forestry. I'm hoping to get that kicked off here within the next year. It'll be kicked off. And number three, I would like to support a group that's getting started here probably within a year or so. There's a group that they want to call themselves the Weber Hiking Club or something to that effect. And their objective is to maintain the trails and vistas that Bob created. Right now, the state does that, but it's a big job. It's a big job, and when you're working 8 to 5, this wasn't an 8 to 5 job for Bob Weber. This was a lifestyle, and so anybody that sees all the things he'd done, they say, how could a man do that? Well, he didn't spend 8 to 4 in the woods. He spent 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. or later in the woods doing these things. You'll hear about in the video, for instance, we're sitting right next to the spot where Robert dug a trench down the side of this mountain, 18 inches deep, and it drops over the side here, which is extremely steep, for 1,000 feet. It's something you don't do in an 8 to 4 job by hand. But anyway, those are my goals for that. There's three, like I said, there's 3 goals, and I want you to, I hope you go to the website. The website is mountainsoulsmovie.com. Just remember, Mountain Souls Movie. Most people are forgetting the movie part of it. It'll be on the screen below me here. Check it out, and I'd really like if you could submit your address under contacts. I want to also add that you can not only buy the DVD online, you can download it online. There are prints available. I hired an artist Michael Pilato. He did an excellent job on the prints or the sketches that I asked him to do. These are all stories that we didn't have pictures for these stories, and he basically, I gave him pictures of the people, or Dottie and Robert at their whatever age they were when the story was told. And just by talking with him, he was able to put the story in perspective on the sketch. And these sketches are for sale. You can purchase them online, or you can buy them at the Slate Run Tackle Shop. So check them out. They're quality prints, 11 by 14 prints.
Your ultimate goal would be to educate a future forester from monies collected and generated by this film.
Exactly. Yeah, this is to go right.
So that's a rather large challenge sitting in front. I think yesterday it was quoted to me that it takes about $18,000 for 1 year of forestry school at Penn State. Bob and Dottie, but more, I guess, Bob, because of his notoriety on the trails and so on, was a forester. And if you look at the background here in the film, a lot of people aren't aware of Pennsylvania. I used to go fishing all over the country, and people would laugh and they'd say, well, where did you learn to fish? And I said, well, I grew up in Pennsylvania. And they said, Pennsylvania? There's trout in Pennsylvania? And most people, when you say Pennsylvania, they see large decaying urban areas, rusted out steel mills, and Amish buggies. But there's a lot more to Pennsylvania. And I remember one time we had some customers in the store from California, and they were so absolutely impressed. And they came back at the end of their fishing trip that day and they said, this is absolutely unbelievable. We've not ever seen anything this beautiful and this lush. And it was a nice wet year. But at any rate, he said, I hope you can preserve this for the future. And he said, don't let anybody from California find out about this secret. They'll buy it and put a fence around it, no trespassing signs on it. So it is a joke, but on the other hand, it's a well-preserved area. This township is 94% state-owned, so we're not going to have a lot of future development in it. But look at this video and let it soak into your heart and your thoughts. These people didn't do this because they were rebelling against society or anything. It was their life. They chose to do this, and they lived a wonderful, wonderful life. So when you look behind us on the video, you'll see where they lived, and their large urban areas. Slate Run they'd come to the post office occasionally, and Jeff has really captured their life. And when you look at it, if you've never heard of North Central PA, and if you've never heard of Bob and Dottie Weber, you watch this video and you will know them and you will feel them in your heart. So Jeff, thank you for all your hard work. You've done a wonderful job. I've watched the video numerous times. It's kind of, for us people that knew Bob and Dottie, it's a little bit of a tearjerker when it first starts, because it brings back reality that they are no longer with us. And you know, we feel that Bob and Dottie are part of the area, like the trees and everything around us. Oh, they'll be here forever. Well, everything comes to an end, and you've actually are extending the people's connection with Bob and Dottie. And I think that's extremely valuable, and I wish you the best of luck in getting your first student out of forestry school.
I look forward to it.
And I hope he comes to Pine Creek Valley. So
I have to add that you'll see actual footage of Robert and Dottie. It's actually from 2007. And we were fortunate enough, there was an individual who had this footage in their closet and called one day and said, I think I have something you may be interested in. And they turned over this raw footage of them at an interview they had done for a TV program. And we were so fortunate to have it. It just put it all together. It really did.
So thank you very much. And Jeff thanks you. I thank you. And get this video. You will, even if you've never heard of North Central Pennsylvania, Get the video. It'll touch your heart. Thank you.